Hunting for Answers is a production of the Black Effect Podcast Network and iHeartRadio. Welcome to Hunting for Answers, a true crime podcast. I'm your host, Hunter. In Bladensburg, Maryland, officers enter an apartment for a welfare check. Inside a bedroom, a woman is lying on the floor. She is unresponsive. One of her wrists is still in a handcuff, and nothing about the scene suggests an accident. This is the story of Lorena Royster. Lorena Brown Royster was 72 years old. She lived in Bladensburg, Maryland. She was active in her community, including involvement with the Order of the Eastern Star. She was a mother. She was someone people knew in Bladensburg, and she had spent years building a life there. On April 3rd, 2024, she was found inside her own home. When officers entered the apartment, they found Lorena Royster on the floor of a bedroom. She was unresponsive. Charging documents outlined what investigators found inside the room. The scene raised immediate questions about what had happened there. She had injuries to her neck. One of her wrists was still in a handcuff. In the room, investigators recovered a pocket knife, a box cutter, and a screwdriver. As police began to piece together what happened, certain details about Lorena's life began to come into focus. She lived in the apartment with her son, Reginald English. Family members told investigators the last time they heard from her was the day before, around 5 p.m. But by the time officers arrived, Reginald English was not there. Earlier that same day, law enforcement in Stevensville, Maryland, had an encounter with a man near Cox Creek, about 40 miles away from Bladensburg. Details from police outlined what happened during that encounter. The man entered the water and provided a false name to officers. At the time, officers did not yet know that encounter would soon be connected to a homicide investigation. He was found in possession of a woman's engagement ring. Nearby, officers located a vehicle, a gray Toyota Camry. The vehicle was registered to Lorena Royster. The man told officers the vehicle belonged to a friend. He was identified as Reginald English. This all took place before police were called to the apartment. As investigators worked to reconstruct the timeline, they began connecting what they had. Lorena Royster found inside her home, her son no longer there, and a vehicle linking both of them to a second location. Prosecutors would later state that the violence was not random, and that it appeared to be connected to a dispute between mother and son. Court reporting would later indicate the dispute may have centered around her car. The case proceeded through the court system. Prosecutors presented evidence that Lorena Royster had been handcuffed and fatally assaulted inside her home. Court records outline what investigators found inside that room, while details of what happened were presented in court. For her family, the process meant waiting for answers and for accountability. On August 7, 2025, Reginald English was convicted of first-degree murder and the killing of his mother. In December 2025, a judge sentenced him to life in prison with all but 72 years suspended. Prosecutors asked for the 72-year term to reflect Lorena's age at the time of her death. Her stepdaughter, Audrey Lawrence, said, "For me, 72 years is going to forever be etched in his brain." Court records indicate the conviction has since been appealed. What happened to Lorena Royster did not involve a stranger. It involved her son, someone who shared that space, and a home that would never feel the same again. Our thoughts are with Lorena Royster's family and loved ones. She was someone who mattered to many. Her life should not have ended this way. For more cases and updates, follow Hunting for Answers. You can also connect with us through our Facebook group and find us on YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok. If there's a story you believe deserves attention, we'd love to hear from you. Thank you for joining us for another episode. Until next time. Hunting for Answers is a production of the Black Effect Podcast Network. For more podcasts from the Black Effect Podcast Network, visit the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to your favorite shows.